Hello, my name is Monica and I'm going to give you some information from the Taurus Data Report of 2014. 4,700 people died that year to DWIs. 33,599 people died to gun violence. 2,404 people died to illnesses. 19,974 people died alone to suicide. Today I'm going to talk to you about our gun rights. And it's going to draw an emotional level that can bring out an ugly beast in some of you, can cause you to become angry. Some of you have experienced a horrific incident or know someone who has. Or there's going to be some of those, as myself, who are diehard believers in the creation of the Constitution and everything that it stands for. This is a very heated debate, and it causes people to be very uncomfortable. Our Second Amendment reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Those 27 words were the start of a battle of good and evil, and it led to the enshrinement of the Bill of Rights. There are many among us who long for an all-powerful government that distrusts our personal rights and freedoms that have been fought hard to implement. King George, he realized quickly that a large group of armed individuals, they're not easily to bully. The observation from Thomas Jefferson, who left us with a warning, when governments fear the people, there's liberty. When people fear the government, there's tyranny. Whatever side of the fence you stand on with gun rights, you must understand that when you break one amendment, it is a domino effect that eventually all of our other rights will begin to crumble. These amendments are the very foundation that causes many to migrate and escape the bondages from their own countries. Ben Carson drew headlines when he spoke that Hitler's extermination of Jews would have been greatly diminished had the Nazi leader not disarmed them first. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. And when tragedy strikes, we all gather like a herd of sheep striving to end the madness as if we can solve these issues that have been ongoing for centuries. With 30,000 people killed yearly by these firearms in the United States alone, we're very quick to think that gun control is the answer. This must become the answer to lower the death rate, stop gun violence, I'm sure, right? But these mass shootings, they draw our attention, they cause us to turn on each other, we take sides, we become verbally violent amongst ourselves. In 1996, the shooting rampage that killed 35 people in Australia caused the government to confiscate hundreds of thousands of personally owned firearms. And then in 1997, British followed the laws of Australia, and both countries only seen a 28% turn-in rate, which means if you were found with a firearm, you would face criminal punishments. All citizens were forced to turn over their firearms for destruction except for those that were placed in a museum. Crimes committed within guns only rose 46%. In 2009, according to the Taurus, the United Kingdom was found to be the most violent country in Europe. Which is weird, right? It should have been one of the most safest places on earth. Hillary Clinton spoke to an audience in New Hampshire that Australia is a good example of gun control. But she falsified the buyback scheme. This is the same scheme that is very similar to praising the Chinese for their population control policy, which only allows one child per household. Of course, only males. Look now at China's population control issue. There's just not enough females. Weird how that happened. The other issue is that the first Congress, which approved the Second Amendment, reenacted the Northwest Ordinance. And this is the law that declared religion, morality, and knowledge, means of education, shall forever be encouraged. So I say to all the gun activists, shall we be rid of all the schools in the Northwest because you do not believe in religion, morality, or knowledge? It is the same that we're facing with alcoholism or DWI. Should we be stripped of our alcohol? With 300 million guns in the United States, the NRA and the NSFF spends millions yearly for safety and educational classes called Eddie Eagle. In 2003, these same associations, they began working with 15,000 law enforcement agencies in all 50 states. They provided them with 36 million firearm safety kits. And since then, there has been a 22% reduction in fatal firearm accidents since that educational class was established. Which means that realistically, firearm accidents only make up, or fatal, I should say, firearms accidents only make up 1% in the United States. These same agencies work with all state and local governments to provide proper mental health information to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, which eliminates anyone who has mental ill issues from retrieving these firearms. Now moving on to one of the biggest financial founders of the anti-gun activists, which was the former New York Mayor, Michael Bloomberg. He has yet to provide little to pretty much nothing for any proper gun safety classes, but instead he does nothing but exploit the tragedy, as we have seen a lot within the news. Mass shootings always cause or draw our attention to dire need to stop gun violence. This process or first thought is usually to take our rights away as citizens. Most of us are hardworking, we uphold the law, and safety is top priority. They say one bad apple ruins a bunch. Could this be what we're up against now? Could we suffer the consequences of a few who have little or no respect for authority? Should we all lose our license since most individuals speed and wreck? Should alcohol be stripped next with the high rate of DWIs? Or should we hold those responsible for their actions? If we give up our rights now on one issue, what will they strip us of next? It does not matter what side of the fence you sit on with your views on gun rights. But what you should realize is that if we lay silent on one freedom, what makes you think the domino effect will not set in and eventually we will lose all of our freedoms? This means we're back at the beginning, fighting and dying for our rights. The true fight should be holding those accountable. My family, we rely upon our weapons for hunting. My family only eats what we hunt. And then we have many of us in Alaska, since we are eligible to carry our weapons with us or carry within our house. What I would like to leave you with is the fact that our Second Amendment that was adopted in December 15th of 1791 was a part of the first 10 amendments contained in the Bill of Rights. And that statute has ruled that the rights belong to the individuals. In Pennsylvania, when they adopted their constitution in 1776, they asserted that the people have a right to bear arms for defense in themselves and the state. I think we're very confused on what a militia is. The term regulated means disciplined or trained. And I think well-regulated implies nothing more than the imposition of proper discipline and training. And we all understand what the rights of the people mean. Individuals. We are the people. So I ask of you today, if you take nothing else away, but to think of the fact that when we let one freedom fall, we have an opportunity of losing it all. Thanks, and thank you for listening.